At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Jim Kasten, Hall of Fame class of 2014, and father to the new inductee, Coach Ryun Kasten.
Yeah, Ryan, you're going to need this. Yes, I'm going to get through this. Before I start, Sam Jarvis is also an all-state cross-country runner, right, Sam? Yeah. And Mr. Jarvis was also my 8th grade basketball coach and teacher. And when I came back to teach at Herculaneum, he was my first administrator. And in that building over there, there was Marty Booyer, Larry Vernon King, Gary Moss. There was all kinds of kids that were former students of his. And we were just young teachers full of whatever we thought we were full of. And I can remember, he was the best administrator. Sorry, any other administrators in here that I ever worked under. Mr. Jarvis, you were awesome. But I remember one time, and not more than one time, but one time I went up to his office and I said, I think I messed up. And he looked at me and he said, what did you do this time? But, you know, and he always gave me good advice, and I certainly appreciate it. Well deserved, sir. Well deserved. Ryun Avery Kasten. He was born 14 weeks premature. He weighed 2 pounds, 7 ounces. He was 13 and a half inches long. Born on a Good Friday the 13th. And why did we spell it Ryan, R-Y-U-N? Well, he had hyaline membrane disease. His lungs weren't formed properly. So his mother wanted to name him Ryan, and I thought, well, Jim Ryan, the great distance runner, that would be an appropriate way to spell it. And Avery is actually his mother's maiden name, so that's where he got the Ryun Avery Kasten. We were connected at the hip, him and I. He wanted to be outside when I cut grass. He wanted to go with me to cut wood. He was little. You can see a picture of him at the dance with Katie Hilo on the thing there. And anyway, his sister and Katie's 2 sisters set that up. They thought that would be really funny, and I think all the athletic directors in the whole county thinks it's funny right now, right, Coach? Anyway, so, you know, we went hunting, and when I came back and started coaching football, again, Ryan, I started picking him up at the elementary building, and he went with me. He was a gym, what would be known as, for basketball people, a gym rat, only he was a football field rat and a weight room rat. And, you know, I got him into running because of that name of Ryun, not Ryan. Anyway, so he was there all the time, and he would say, Dad, I'm going to coach with you, I'm going to coach with you. And it was meant to be. And so we started down this journey of father-son coaching and button heads early on, and then he went away to college. He was an all-state track athlete. He was on a national championship cross-country team and track team in college, running for Clark Willie and Vince Bingen up in Lindenwood. And Stan Helms had the great foresight to hire him to be my assistant cross-country coach. He was 19 when Stan talked to him. He was 20 by the time he started coaching. You know, probably one of the youngest coaches ever to coach at the school. He was the youngest coach to ever win a state championship in the state of Missouri in any sport. He's going to be the youngest inductee into this Hall of Fame. He has put in his time by witness of the young men that are here. He's going to talk about them, and I won't need to, but many young lives he has changed for the better. And sometimes not with an easy hand, soft hand, as Mr. Jarvis knows. Sometimes you got to be tough, you got to be strict, you got to be get these kids to be accountable. But you know what? All those fun things that Dad got to do with Ryan. Taught him how to hunt, taught him how to throw a baseball, throw a football, taught him how to run. but his mother taught him how to be a man, taught him how to show compassion, taught him how to show empathy, taught him how he should treat others. And because of that, I'm going to step back and I'm going to let her come up here and introduce her son.
But you know, as parents, you only have your children for such a small percentage of their time. And once they move out and move on and become an adult, they make their own choices. And to say that we are proud of the path that Ryan chose and the person that he chose to be and the accomplishments he chose to achieve is beyond anything I can imagine. So with that, I'd like to introduce our son, our favorite son, Ryan Avery Kasten.
Well, this is truly an honor to be here tonight, to be in the presence of this group, to be inducted with Mr. Jarvis and Ms. Polite. You know, when I started this years ago, really wasn't years ago, 18 years ago, you know, I never envisioned myself being included in a group of people, the Hall of Fame inductees of the past and of this year. That just wasn't, these are people that I grew up listening to stories about, idolizing. They were mentors for me, and to be included in that is truly a humbling honor. And so with that, I kind of want to focus on my time here as a coach and as an educator, because I do feel it was a special time for me, that I have a lot of memories. And, you know, through that whole time here as a coach, we did achieve a lot of success, but it wasn't something that was done just by one person or just by a group of athletes, but more by a group of people with a common goal, working towards achieving that common goal. And so I have some people that I want to thank this evening that helped us along the way. You know, during those 10 years, we had a lot of parents that helped, you know, getting their kids to and from practice, you know, and the demand to be a cross-country runner, for us was always high. But there was one mom that always stuck out because she was with us for the 10 years I was here. She was with us for those 10 years. Ann Maloney. And I want to thank you for your support for Dad and I, the support of our team, the support of letting your daughters run for us, as crazy as we were all those years. There were times that you helped purchase running shoes for kids that couldn't afford them, meals that they couldn't afford, Letterman's jackets that they couldn't afford, and Dad and I couldn't have done it without you. And more importantly, from that, I want to thank you for your friendship over these years and to this day. So thank you.
It was an honor. Thank you.
No, it was. It really was. The next person I want to thank is Coach Bradshaw. You know, Coach Bradshaw, you had to put up with me for 10 years, whether I was in your office because I made a kid walk home barefoot, or I yelled at some kid after a race in front of their grandparents, or I maybe said something I shouldn't have. You know, but through all that, Coach, you always supported me. You always had my back, and you always showed me where my mistakes were and how I needed to improve. And on top of that, Coach, you showed me how to be an effective athletic director, and those lessons I've taken into my current job now as an AD at Second High School. And Coach, I really appreciate your friendship over the years and you being here tonight. So thank you. So moving on, I have some other moms that I want to thank, and these two are a little closer to home for me. I want to thank my own mom, and as Dad alluded, you know, growing up, I did do a lot with Dad, hunting and fishing and coaching and different things like that, but it was through my mom, the life lessons that she taught me, my love for working with children, my passion for wanting to be an educator, and my passion for wanting to be a coach, to show empathy, just my willingness to want to help other people. You know, and Mom, you supported us through all those years. Those 10 years where you had to put up with Dad and I talking about running all the time. I actually think there was a point there where you banned it at the dinner table, that we couldn't talk about cross-country or track. But you always would tell this story when Dad was first coaching, that it was the devil's work because he was gone all the time. But then when I got into it, your son, it was God's work. So, yeah. Thank you, Mom. The next person I want to thank is my wife, Amy, and my two girls, Claire and Kate, who are here tonight. You know, Claire and Kate, you guys were awfully young when Dad was coaching here, but you sacrificed more than you'll ever know because I wasn't around a lot. And we didn't get to do a lot of things because I was too busy at summer practice or at meets on Saturdays or things of that nature. And so you didn't get a lot of dad time back then. You know, and Amy, our first couple years married, we didn't go on family vacations because I couldn't miss summer running. And you had to put up with me coming home in a bad mood because we had a bad practice or the kids raced bad. But you always supported me through that, and you knew what I was doing was for the right reasons. Even if I would spend an entire paycheck on running shoes for kids that couldn't afford running shoes, you knew it was for the right reasons. So thank you, girls. You know, getting this award, as I've kind of reflected on it and what it means to me, I do truly feel that it's not necessarily an award for me, because the accomplishments that we accomplished my time here as a coach was really through the efforts of the young men and the young ladies that chose to run for us. And so really for me, this is an award for you guys, because I wouldn't be standing up here if it wasn't for you choosing to commit to what I was asking you to do and putting up with me. Because just like that story Mom told about, I don't know how he didn't get punched in the face, I really don't know how we didn't come to blows at some point, because there were times, guys, where I really pushed the limit, but you guys were always there, committed, working towards that goal of success, and I do appreciate that. You know, I just kind of want to talk about for a second, kind of recap the 10 years that I spent here as a cross-country and a track coach and what those kids accomplished, because I do think it was historic, and I want that to kind of be the focus here. During those 10 years, there was no other sports team in the state of Missouri that had the level of success that these kids had. Our girls program during those 10 years won 10 straight state trophies, six state team championships. For a 10-year run, they were either first or second at the state cross-country meet. That is a huge accomplishment. Our boys program during those 10 years won 5 state titles, 8 state trophies total. We had over 50 all-state athletes during that time. We had 3 individual state champions. And like I said, there was no other program in the state during that decade that had that level of success. You know, and then carrying the track, we won numerous state trophies at the state track meet, numerous all-state athletes, numerous individual state champions. But I can say one of the things I'm the most proud of is during those 10 years, we had over 16 athletes receive college scholarships to continue their running career at the next level to earn that college degree. That was something that I was very proud of. Sorry. You know, with that, I just want to thank everyone for the induction and for the honor, and I'm truly blessed and honored to be a part of this. So thank you.